Contemporary Artistic. Paul Ellis, 1 star. Zulu Royal Rose Gold Award.
Who's going to start? Ian, are you starting?
Okay, I can take the first one. Paul, well done with a very, very good effort here. I must say that I thought this was a very, very good effort for a 1 star. And everything is nice and crisp. The detail is there in that flower. I like the way that the petals sort of draw you into the center, and everything is nice and sharp. There's a few comments that I might have made if it was at a higher star level, but for a 1 star, you've done a very good job there. Well done.
LCB to Toy, 5 star. Sequestered Gold Award.
A fantastic image. I really enjoy this image. It's got a really nice mood to it. The center, how can I say, the focal point of this lady in the image is nice and sharp, beautiful light on her. And also the background, I like the soft light in the background. Nothing I can actually really add onto this. It is a very beautiful image. Thank you.
1 star. Blossoms Silver.
Gosh, is Narissa there?
She did log on before we came on. Narissa, I think you might be on mute.
If she's not around, maybe you guys.
I think I missed the part of this. I wasn't sure who's commenting.
Okay.
So am I commenting?
Yes.
Okay, great. I think this is a lovely image and a really good attempt by the author. I love the very artistic feel to it, and I love the fact that you use the trees as your focal point. The only advice that I could have given is that little, I don't know whether it's a stem or a branch or whatever it is that's running diagonally through that image. I think if you had just removed that, it would have definitely given the image a much greater impact. Compositionally, you thought about this really nicely.
1 star. Candy Rose Silver.
Okay, again, I thought this was quite a good image.
I can hear something.
Sorry, could you mute Mike, please?
Okay, Ian. Ian, are you muted? Yeah.
Okay, I'm just pressing my space bar to talk so that I'm unmuted when I'm not talking. All right, so again, for a 1 star, it's a good effort. Most of that rose is in sharp focus, which is one of the sort of plus parts. I find that this image is actually quite pleasing, and there are several areas where there's good detail. Again, one can comment on areas where there's a bit of darkness in the background, etc. But for a 1 star, it's a good effort. So well done.
5 star. You Can Never Go Home Again Silver.
Yeah, this image gives you the feeling of like a mysterious feeling. This gentleman looking into this room, you keep on wondering where is he looking to, and what is there, around him. I like the the play between the blues and the orange light that's coming through that window or that door. Quite a pleasing image. I just feel it's a little bit busy on the left-hand side. If it was less busy, it will be a lot stronger image. Thank you.
LCB to Toy, 5-star. After the Scream, Gold Award.
Once again, a beautiful artistic image. I just love the muted colors in this image, and even though it's the colors are so muted, it has such a powerful story. And I really love the way in which you used, I would say, the artistic tools to create all of these curves in that. I have to say the strength in this image is definitely the fact that it's so muted and yet it has such a strong message. Well done, LCB.
Next category is Macro. Tim Gould, Master Bronze. On Guard, Gold Award.
Well done. A very, very good image of the spider. I don't know what type of spider it is, but I presume it is one. I must say that you've done very well. You've got good leading lines, nice detail. The only thing, in my opinion, which detracts slightly from it is the left side of that image with that sort of different sort of blurring and what have you, which I know is probably something you can't really deal with. But that's the only thing that lets it down slightly. Otherwise, a very good image.
1-star. Jelly Beans Holiday, Silver.
I like the idea of this jelly beans. Look like they're on the beach, having a nice day out on the beach. Look like there's a sea in the background. For a 1-star, I think it's very well thought of. The only problem that I see is that it's not very sharp. There's not a lot of sharpness on the jelly beans itself. And the big black jelly bean on the left-hand side is very dark. There's not a lot of textures coming. You can't see a lot of texture in the jelly bean. You actually want to, in a macro photo, you want to see a lot of sharpness, a lot of times from the front right to the back. But unfortunately, sharpness lacks a little bit. Thank you.
Next category is Monochrome. 2-star. Adoration, Silver. Larissa?
Larissa there.
I'm not sure.
Right, so let me continue with this one, just so that we don't get stuck. I must say that I found this to be quite an interesting image. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a blown out white highlight on the left side of the dog, but otherwise, there's definitely a sense of love and bonding between the two subjects. For a high mark, one wants to try and deal with some of the background brightness, the distractions there, and possibly lighten the face a little bit, but otherwise a good attempt.
Leslie Oppo, 5-star. Laura, Black and White, Merit Award.
a beautiful black and white image of this young girl with this hat on. I like the light that's coming in underneath the hat, and you can actually see clearly her face. And her eyes are well lit up, and also a bit of highlights in her eyes. Image very nice and sharp. The only little bit of crit I've got is the background. It seems like it's taken with a textured wall in the background. It is just, you just can't see it or just can't see it, and it looks like more like noise nearly. That's the only thing that I can crit on this, but otherwise, a beautiful image. Well done.
John Fenter, Master Bronze, Harmony Pullers, Gold Award.
Still no Larissa.
No, you can take this one here.
Okay. Yeah, I must say I found this very interesting image. I enjoy the symmetry, the two sort of circular lines that are going around with the dark right-hand side with some leading lines, sort of bringing your focus onto that side. The only small kind of difficulty that I had with it was the bright line right across the center at the back. I must say that it tends to divide the image in half, and you almost end up with two images. And it also brings one to a difficulty of a place to rest your eye. The foreground and the right-hand side of the image is very strong and lots of detail there. I don't know how you would really improve on it. You could probably try and darken that line across the center, and I think that might improve it, but I think that's going to be a difficult one to do.
Okay, Narissa just sent me a message. She's lost the internet connection. That's why she's not on, but she's going to try and come back online as soon as possible.
Thanks, Akash.
So Gould, 5-star, Buffalo Stare, Gold Award.
Well, this image of this buffalo is really staring right down the eyes. Beautiful image, nice and sharp. All I would change is a little bit of a tight crop. I would just give it a little bit more space, either on the left or on the right-hand side. I would prefer a little bit more on the right-hand side. But otherwise, a beautiful image. I would like to also see a little bit more grays in it, to have areas nice and dark and black, but other areas maybe in the background to lighten it a little bit, so that you get a bit of shades of gray a bit in it. But otherwise, a nice image. Thank you.
Master Silver, Alert Male, Silver.
I must say, when I saw this image, I thought, wow, that's a great capture, nice and sharp, lots of detail in that springbok in the foreground. Somebody's been to Kgalagadi. The only thing for me that became a bit of a distraction was the background on the right with the other springbok being out of focus. It starts to become a little bit distracting, and your eye wanders there. And once your eye wanders there, it wanders to the bush in the back and then back to the dark area on the left. But it's still well anchored with that springbok right in front. A great effort. Keep up the good work.
Two-star, Emma, Silver.
Very good effort for a 2-star. I really enjoyed this image of this cat. It seems like looking a little bit downwards. The only credit I can give on it is there's some blown out areas on the chest of the cat. It's always difficult to to balance your light. So you always got to be careful with those white areas, especially on white fur. And then obviously there's black leaves on the left-hand side. If that was cropped out, I think it would have been a lot stronger image. Your eyes are trying to go to that dark area on the left-hand side. But for a 2-star, it was a very good attempt. The background is also nice and blurred out. I actually do like the light that's coming through the leaves in the background. Thank you.
Master Silver, children at play, Silver.
Yeah, a great action photograph and very, very interesting with the two boys running across with those tubes. Some nice, sorry, just sorry about that.
Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, sorry, we've got phones ringing in the background. So yeah, the thing that lets it down, unfortunately, is the two boys are very, very dark, and at a master silver level, one would think that you would possibly just lighten it slightly. Otherwise, the idea and the thought that's gone into it is very good. But I'm afraid that for me, it was just a little bit too dark on that.
5-star, 3 in a row, Silver.
Yeah, we've got 3 in a row, definitely here on the beach. The composition just comes across a little bit awkward with the rock right in the center of the image, and then the 3 boys walking on the beach. I could see that you wanted to try and get the reflections of them in that bit of water, just to the left of them. The only big drawback here is that the 3 boys are out of focus. They should have been sharp in focus, and then possibly the rock in the front, bit out of focus. That would have helped a lot. But otherwise, a pleasing image. Thank you.
Master Bronze, Kobe Lagoon, 1-0, Silver.
Yeah, very interesting scape here with lots of detail, lots of interesting points to look at. But unfortunately, nothing that really draws you to look at a specific place. There is a nice leading line with that sand where it's washed away going in towards the center. But then you kind of wonder whether you're going right, left. So it's a little bit too busy for my personal taste. Perhaps if one just focused on the foreground with the rocks and the sand, one could have got a much more interesting image. And overall as well, it looks a little bit soft. So yeah, unfortunately, just missed the mark. And it's tough when you're up there in the master level.
And 1-1, 5-star, Ostrich Chicks in High Key, Gold Award.
Yeah, the high key definitely working this image. The ostriches are standing out from the background. Black and white conversion is very well handled here. The only credit I can give is the tall ostrich. Its head is a little bit in the shade, a little bit more light on it would have helped a lot more. But otherwise, there's not a lot I can crit on it. All the feathers are quite sharp and a very pleasing image. Thank you.
3-star, what long eyelashes you have, Silver.
Okay, so I scored this a little bit higher than that. I would have given it a gold at a 3-star level. There's lots of nice texture and detail. One can see clearly that it's an elephant, and very typically they do have these long eyelashes. And you've done well to try and depict the scene as you saw it. The difficulty with this type of image is often with the crop and where you decide to actually draw the line. What are you going to see? What are you not going to see? And one needs to try and find some sort of a way to draw you into an area. So leading lines and things like that are very important. But for a 3-star, nonetheless, well done. Keep trying. It's a good image.
Next category is nature. Vultures feasting on giraffe kill, bronze award.
Yeah, we can clearly see those vultures are feeding on this giraffe carcass. A lot of activity. The only big crit that I've got, and I think that's the reason why I got a bronze, is that the vultures are not sharp. They're very soft. And that is the biggest crit we've got here in the moment. So just sharpen up a bit and then you'll get a lot more points. Thank you.
Next category is nature wildlife. 5-star, Dassy acrobat, silver.
Wow, well spotted. Whoever the author is, it's always amazing to see what goes on out there in nature. And it's always exciting to get an opportunity to try and capture that with your camera. Why not a higher score? Unfortunately, the 2 branches with all those leaves at the bottom just detract totally from your subject matter, which is that Dassy that is balancing so precariously. So if you were to have cropped possibly a better rectangle towards the right-hand side, across like, yeah, there you go, and then up there, that would have brought that image into a much better sort of perspective, and it possibly would have given you a higher mark.
Ian Taylor, Master Bronze. Malachite Judo Move, Merit Award.
Wow, Ian, what an image. You definitely do deserve the merit on this image. Getting this malachite, doing a judo, how can you say, judo move on this frog. But where do you get the malachite with this beautiful, colorful frog, you know? And also with this nice blurry background, it's a fantastic image. The only problem I've got in it is that's not my image. So well done, Ian. You really deserve it. Beautiful image. I can't falter it anyway. Thank you.
Sandy Reinders, 1-star. Carmine Elegance, 13, Gold Award.
Well, for that Carmine B to Sandy, I scored you a merit for a 1-star. Very, very good effort. I like that little sort of stick that it's sitting on, very, very unobtrusive. You've got a nice sort of a crop that you've used. If it was at a higher star, yes, you might have had a little bit of a comment on a few other things, but as a 1-star, brilliant image. Well done.
Sean Pinter, Master Bronze. Greenbacked Heron, Gold Award. Ian.
Well, John, I must say, I looked at this image and I thought, wow, when I first looked at it, it made me sort of a little bit envious, but then there's a few things that I need to comment on that I feel just detract a little bit from it. And the first thing is your crop. it's wonderful that you've got that anchor point in the water, but that dark or that bright white line across the center there, to me, cuts it in half. And if you crop that just on top of that white line, I think you'd have a merit, because that greenbacked heron on its own is a stunning image, but the rest of that bottom section just seems to cut it in half, in my opinion.
Master Bronze, Flying West, silver.
A very nice sharp image, especially in flight. Must have taken with a nice high shutter speed. Can see feathers are nice and sharp, eyes sharp, even a little highlight in the eye. Nice sharp beak. I think the only what I can comment on is a little bit more light underneath the wings. Especially the far left wing is quite dark. And then unfortunately, get this blue sky, so it's not really contributing a lot in the image, because the bird is quite white, and then also the pale blue sky is the only reason why it doesn't stand out a lot more, But I know it's always difficult to try and not get blue skies, while a bird is flying. But otherwise, a beautiful, sharp image. Well done.
5-star, dinner for 2, silver.
Yeah, it seems a bit harsh, but unfortunately, there's a few things about this image that just kind of let it down a little bit, in my opinion, anyway. Wonderful subject matter. You're so fortunate to have been able to witness this and to have opportunity to capture it. Unfortunately, what my view is on this one is that the foreground with that carcass there, and that left-hand side where you've got, I don't know if that's part of the carcass or another lion or whatever that might be, but that is kind of the focal point, and it should be more on the lions. If one had a different angle or perspective to look at it, it would have improved it. And then also the color slightly, there's a bit of a sort of a washed out look on the lines. I don't know if it's the time of day, if there's a lot of shadow there. It looks like there was good light, but it overall, it just doesn't really work. It's kind of muddled and confusing. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing to have seen and been able to take photos of, and I hope you've got some other photos of it that you can enter.
Henry Opel, Master Silver, Dominance, Gold Award.
Yes, Henry, a beautiful image of those two vultures squabbling over possibly food. It looked like it could be a Zamanga. I think the only trick we've got here is it's a little bit dark. I think if you push up the light a little bit, give a bit more light on the vultures, it will help a lot. And also with this very dark foreground, but otherwise, nice and sharp. We can see there's some catch light in the eyes. So there's a lot of potential in this image. Just brighten it up a little bit. Thank you.
Kathy K, Master Gold, Juvenile Goshawk Leaving Nest, Merit Award.
Guess who went to Kalahari? Yes, Kathy, that is a fantastic capture. I really must say the angle of the bird with the legs and the wings, the color, the blue sky is the right kind of blue. It's all just works together so nicely. I must tell you, I scored it a 5, and very well deserving of its merit. Great capture.
Master Bronze, Alaskan Spring, silver.
Yeah, another subject that we often get chance to photograph. We unfortunately have to go quite a long way. The images comes across as a little bit of a, how can I say, like a snapshot, just because the background is not blurred out a lot. So the background is quite disturbing. It's busy, and then also the polar bear comes across a little bit on the soft side. I think that if the background was a little bit, how can I say, but darker and also a little bit more out of focus, the polar bear would have stood out a lot more. But otherwise, a nice image.
A grizzly bear. Two-star, water on the go, silver.
Lovely. I must say, for a 2-star, you've done very well to capture this image. Unfortunately, a few of the comments on the last image apply to this as well. The background is a little bit too distracting. Possibly, if we darken the image slightly, it's a little bit bright. But otherwise, the action, you've captured it wonderfully. And to see that elephant walking like that and the water dripping and everything, great capture. So pity you didn't get a goal, but keep trying.
Jacques Alshop, Master Silver, Squid Dive Fiera, Gold Award.
Yeah, a beautiful image of this purple heron, nice and sharp. You can actually still see all the feathers are still in the air. And the background also nice, out of focus. Just a pity there's a little bit of a dark black blob above his head, but yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. But at least it's still nice, out of focus. The only other crit I've got is the feet. It's right on the edge. If we could have had a little bit more space on the perch at the bottom, it would have helped quite a lot. But otherwise, beautiful light, beautiful sharpness in the feathers. Can't fault it at all in that region at all. Thank you.
4-star, Lion Cub, silver.
Yeah, pity for the silver. Lovely subject, great capture. Very fortunate to see this, obviously nice and close. You've got wonderful detail. There are a few things that are distracting: the background, the branch or stick across the front. I personally thought at a 4-star level, you've done very well. And I did score it a little bit higher than a silver. But it is what it is. It gets more difficult as you progress. But keep trying and keep working on images like this. Otherwise, a good attempt. Well done.
1-star, fishing, silver.
I think for a 1-star, it was a very good attempt to try and capture the bird fishing, obviously fishing for a fish. But I think the possible shutter speed was maybe a bit low. So the big issue we've got is that the bird is got motion blur or out of focus. So unfortunately, we want the bird sharp, and so you've got to shoot with a very high shutter speed and your focus needs to be on the right spots. The bird is also slightly overexposed, not too serious, but it's just touch and go. Thank you.
And Borman, 5-star, bee eater with insect, Gold Award.
Wow, and great capture, well done. Love the action with the mouth wide open and that wasp or whatever it might be, that insect just about to be sucked in there and chewed on. Everything about this image speaks of good action, good shutter speed, your lighting and your selection of your aperture is good. Very little to comment on to improve it. You could look at using possibly one of your sliders on the top section and just darken that a little bit to bring the background into a little bit more uniformity. But otherwise, a very good effort. Well done.
Joan Darcy, 3-star. Yes, my dear, you are beautiful. Gold Award.
Yeah, for a 3-star, excellent image. Well done, Joan. Getting this green bacterias, the male and female, with this reflection in the water. It's a very nice image. The closest one to us is nice and sharp. You can even see a little bit of highlight in the eye. I think it's just touch on a little bit on the bright side. Could have just toned down the exposure a little bit. But otherwise, beautiful image. Background is also nice, out of focus. Thank you.
Tony K, 4-star. It is all mine. Gold Award.
Tony, where have you been? Yeah, so very, very interesting image. Lots of action. That lion showing its strength. Just envious of the sighting. Well done with your capture. The only negative for me, which is not a huge one, and it's really nitpicking, is if you reduce the crop slightly on the top. There's those 2 black dots. You could have removed those, and you could have possibly used a brush on the elbow of the lion that's got those claws in this poor animal's neck, and you would have possibly reached a merit there. But well done, great capture.
Sandy Reinders, 1-star. Into the Blue. Gold Award.
For a 1-star, well done. It is a great attempt for a 1-star to take an image of this bird. Nice, sharp image, nice, sharp feathers, even a sharp beak with a bit of highlights in the eye. The only, unfortunately, is the blue and the blue bird, the blue sky competing with the blue bird, So we always try to get to an elevation where you've got either a mountain or, a bit of greener background behind the bird, for the blue to stand out more from the background. But otherwise, for a 1-star, beautiful image, and you deserve the gold. Thank you.
Kathy K, Master Gold. Springbok. Kronky. Gold Award.
Kathy, well done. That is such a wonderful capture. You got all the action, all the detail, nice diffused background. Ticks all the boxes. Why not merit? Good question. But there are a few small things there that you could consider. And the first one is that dark spot on the top left side, and then also that dark patch of vegetation, also at the top left, and then also the line of grass. If you used your brush there and just lightened it slightly, it would just take that sort of distraction away, and it would be a definite merit. Well done.
Master bronze. That looks like lunch. Silver.
Yeah, we always like to take images of cats in the wild. Beautiful image of this cheetah busy licking its gums. Question is why the silver? And I think it is just the time of the day. It's quite bright, looks quite sunny. If it was taken a little bit later evening, with some nice softer light, it would have been better. And then also that background, that big blade of grass, unfortunately, that comes out of the bum, it's a little bit distracting. And then that bright orange eyes just looks a little bit unnaturally. It just gets a feeling that it has been pulled out a little bit with post-processing. I could be wrong. But I think it's just the brightness of day that distracts a little bit on this image. Thank you.
1 star. This one was disqualified, or photographer was given an allowance to re-enter because they are 1 star. This is a mono image in a color category. 3 star. It's on you. Silver.
Right. Great capture of the oxpecker on the back of that impala. The only kind of distraction and kind of problem that it's got is that right-hand side, which is all blurred and out of focus. And it's going to be very difficult to rescue that by cropping, because you're going to end up either cropping off the ears or getting too close so that the head of that impala is going to look a little bit unnatural. One of the top kind of comments that a lot of people make, and this goes back for the last 50, 60 years in photography, is take a step to the right or a step to the left. Unfortunately, most of our wildlife images are done in a motor vehicle. So you have to either be able to move right or left, or forwards or backwards, in other words, to kind of get a better angle to shoot at. And if that's not possible, then you've got to try and work on the crop to improve the image. But otherwise, a good effort for a 3-star. Pity about that distraction on the right.
Tony K, 4 star. The main man. Gold award.
Yeah, you deserve this gold on this image. Beautiful image of this male lion. Not too sure if it's in the Kalahari with all this nice long grass, but it could be, because they had a lot of rain recently. So why not a merit? I think it is just possibly the angle he's looking. His head just looks a little bit of a funny shape. Just looks very flat, So, and then he doesn't look fierce, or with a fierce expression in his face or anything. But there's some nice light on him. I think what's distracting is that the line is darker than what the background is. The grass is lighter than the line. I would have preferred if the grass was darker and the line was more brighter, so that the eye would go more to the line and not to the grass in the background. But nice and sharp. All the hairs, everything is sharp, nice sharp eyes. So a beautiful image. So well done.
Can I just add a comment on that, Akash?
Certainly, yeah.
Just on my screen, when I viewed it, I noticed up here that it looks like a dust spot, and also some banding across here, purple and green. So I don't know in post-processing, Tony, if you've tried to change things a little bit much. Just need to be careful and look at it carefully. The background at the top looks a little bit unnatural. If that wasn't the case, I would have scored it another point higher, which might have improved your score there.
4-star. Sandblasted wildebeest. Silver.
Yeah, great image. I enjoyed seeing this. Lovely detail. Got a story to tell with that sand. I've seen these creatures doing some weird things, rolling around on their backs, poking and banging their heads into the ground and into the mud. And obviously they deal with pests and parasites and things by kind of bathing themselves in the mud and the sand to try and make their lives a little bit easier. The image is nice and sharp. I like the crop, but unfortunately the background has got a lot of very, very bright areas which detract from the image. Kathy has mentioned in the past about using the brush tool, and you can quite easily tone those down and create a better contrast and a darker background, which will make your image stand out more.
Sandy Rainders, 1-star. Tasty treat, gold award. John.
Sorry, I forgot I was on mute.
Okay.
For a 1-star, beautiful image for a 1-star, well done. It's a very gutsy image to take, especially a fish eagle with that white feathers. And that is the only drawback that I've got, is that the blue in the background is very light, so it competes with the white on the fish eagle. So unfortunately, the white feathers don't stand out as much from the background. But otherwise, nice and sharp, nice sharp feathers, and a nice perch, with nice textures and a nice shape as well, But yeah, a beautiful image. Just unfortunately, we don't make any eye contact with the fish eagle, but that for a 1-star, it's a beautiful image. Thank you.
Next category is pictorial. Here's the Opal, 5-star. Art is a busy square, gold award. Sorry, art in a busy square.
Wow, Leslie, when I saw this image, I was really blown away. I think this is a great capture. Wonderful storytelling. This image that this guy is painting, it's almost unimaginable to think. I mean, I can't even draw a picture of a person, never mind, even a little stick man kind of thing. I don't have that in me. But this guy's obviously really doing something very, very special. And I must be honest, I did score it a little bit higher than that. I would have seen this as a merit. The distraction or detraction from the image, in my opinion, is it's a little bit oversaturated. If one looks at the coloring in the background, the clothing looks like it's a little bit too bright and a little bit oversaturated, whereas the foreground is very good. And if one were to use a trying to think what the word is now, it's not a slider, use a gosh, Henry, help me. One of those gradient filters, yes, and just drop the saturation in the back. Thanks for that, whoever that was. That would improve this image dramatically. But well done, great capture.
Master Bronze. Fish No Chips, silver.
There's Barred Kingfisher. Managed to catch a nice fish. And yeah, what's distracting me is a little bit of that, look like a bit of banding in the background, in those green, a bit of green colors, and it looked like there's a bit of green also coming through onto the feathers, on the chest feathers as well. And also it is a little bit soft as well. Some areas it is nice and sharp, and some areas the feathers are a little bit out of focus. I would have liked to have the fish also a little bit in focus. It would have added to it, but otherwise a nice image. Also would have liked to have a little bit more light in the eyes itself. The eye comes across a little bit on the dark side. But otherwise a nice image. Thank you.
Henry Opal, Master Silver. Blocking the outside, Gold Award.
Right, a very nice polo cross image. Lots of action. The horses are galloping. As usual, there's a lot of effort from the other riders to try and either knock that ball out of that racket. Yeah, very, very good capture. Lots of detail. Exposure is good. The only distraction for me is that white. I don't know if it's like a board or something in the background on the right bottom quadrant there. If you tone that down with a brush, I think you would have improved your mark slightly. Well done, though.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star. Snake Eagle, Merit Award.
Indeed, yeah, for what is it? A 4-star. Yeah, a beautiful image, and you deserve your merit in this one. Everything is beautifully sharp. I like the composure with the wings, and it's all sharp. The eyes, beak, and also the little branch it's sitting on, the nice texture in it and everything. I can't actually really fault it, except that I would have liked the background a touch, a little bit darker. It's just competing against the bird a little bit, but otherwise a beautiful image. The composition, sharpness, everything is fantastic. Thank you.
Jacques Selshop, Master Silver, High Risk, Merit Award.
Well done, Jacques. I must say that for this image, as a pictorial image, I looked at it and wondered why in pictorial and why not in photojournalism or something. But then I did notice that it looks like you might have been a bit sneaky and placed that boat there. I'm not sure that you did, but it does have a little bit of a difference in the color and texture of the water. But otherwise, it doesn't detract from it. One doesn't really see that. It's a great image. It's got a lot of drama. The color is good. The background is scary. And the foreground looks equally scary. You don't know whether they're going to arrive on rocks or on the beach, but a great image. Well done, Jacques.
Van Berens, Master Bronze, Purple Crested Churaco in the Rain, Gold Award.
A beautiful, sharp image of this purple crested Churaco. I think the only fault that I can falter it is the background. It looked like it was a little bit altered, and that's maybe why it's in this category. It just doesn't look natural, unfortunately. That colors a little bit banded and everything. If it was a natural green all through, it would have been a lot better. But otherwise, a very nice image, nice and sharp. And I just think this branch right in front of its head is not adding to it. If that branch, yeah, we unfortunately can't clone it away, but yeah, that's nature, But otherwise, a beautiful image. Thank you.
In the pictorial, they can use manipulation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A 4-star, Gothic windows, silver.
Right. A very interesting image. Certainly does depict this cathedral or church or building, whatever it might be, with this sort of Gothic architecture in a great way. It's something that I often look at when I'm attempting to take photos of these things, which I'm useless at. I have to admit that, and I do try, but it's not one of my fortes. Why not a high mark? To me, there's a few items that are just distracting from this to make it really work nicely. That left-hand side there, the piece of roof, and whatever that piece of metal or whatever it is that's sticking out just above it with that shadow. If that wasn't in the image, and also if you possibly got closer and had your lens pointing up more vertically, and you got the top of the building at that section where it's cut off, it would have made the image much stronger. But a good effort, and keep trying.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star, Golden Skies, Merit Award.
Yeah, this image actually blew me away when I saw it the first time. Beautiful. The composition of the bird in flight in the image is, you can't falter it. Nice and sharp. The light on it is beautiful. And then obviously that golden skies in the background. I get a feeling that was added in the image. So that's why it's in this category. But yeah, I can't falter it. It's just, I wish it was mine. Thank you.
Next category is PJ. Sorry, there's no images in PJ. Next category is portrait. Tim Gould, Bath Shoot, Gold Award.
Wow, Tim, well done. I must say, I don't know where you find these models and where you get your people for these photos that you take, but excellent, great image. I must say I was very impressed when I saw this. It's not something that I feel highly qualified to comment on, but I must say that if it were something that I looked at and if I were to have dealt with this image, I would have possibly tilted it a little bit down on the bottom right-hand side so that I could crop out a little bit of the back below the arm, because it's almost two images. I don't mind that the head is visible and then the neck is not, but I find that the torso below the right arm kind of keeps drawing your eye away from the great focal point of those well-lit eyes and the nice sharp face. A great image. Well done.
Andre Sporman, Master Bronze, Lion King, Gold Award.
Yeah, a beautiful image of this lion cub. It's definitely got the cuteness factor, and I think that's what's given it you quite a nice score. Only things that I can falter a bit is in the eyes itself. From our view, the right eye is a little bit on the dark side, and it also, the eyes comes across soft, especially the left-hand eye, you can clearly see there's some softness in the eyes. And unfortunately, in wildlife, it's something we definitely want to see, nice, crisp, sharp eyes. But otherwise, there's some nice sharpness in the fur itself, but a beautiful image of this lion cub. Well done.
Ian Taylor, Master Bronze. Really? Gold Award. John, you can comment on this one.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I see now it's Ian's, yeah. Yeah, Ian, look like you're also not lacking on subject matter that you took here. I do like the quirkiness in the model's face, saying, "Yeah, really," you know. The light that you've used from above just comes across a little bit hard. If it's just a little bit softer, you would have seen it will lessen on the shine on the cheeks. It will make it a little bit softer. But otherwise, yeah, a little bit more, just a little bit of full flash or full light in the eyes would have helped also quite a lot. But otherwise, nothing I can falter really in this image. Well done, yeah.
5-star, Golden King, silver.
Well, the subject matter is always something that's very exciting when you see this. So, yeah, why do we end up with a silver award? Unfortunately, the image is lacking definition and sort of a defining point where the borders are. There is it appears like a very light border. I don't know if that's just my imagination, but it looks like there is a very, very light border there. But overall, it looks like there was a lot of green in the background that's been toned down to try and bring the subject out more and to make it more prominent. But the bottom section with that orange grass intruding into the scene and the overall darkness of it, and unfortunately a little bit soft as well, it just detracts. So yeah, but keep trying. If you get this opportunity again to see something like this, keep trying with effort.
It does have a very thin border.
Thanks, Akash.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star, Leopard Portrait, Merit Award.
Yeah, what a beautiful image of this leopard. It seems like still a young leopard. Beautiful light, and well lit up all over the face, even in the eyes, and sharp all over, from point of the nose right back to the ears, and right the fur down the back is all pin sharp. So depth of field is well handled, yeah. And the background is beautifully out of focus, and that is all what we want to see in wildlife. Everything in the wildlife nice and sharp, and the background's nice out of focus and in good light. Well done. There's nothing else I can falter in this. You definitely deserve the merit.
Master Bronze, Thinking, silver.
Almost seems a bit harsh when you look at it, but when you see the quality of the previous image at a 4-star level and you look at a Master Bronze with this effort, it's a great image, but just not handled as well as the previous one. And we don't want to compare because the lighting and the circumstances might have been totally different. However, there are a few things that need to be commented on. That dark band across that line on the line, the level with the head, and then that sort of triangular or three-pointed dark spot on the left behind the back. And then obviously this was taken late or early in the morning or late at night, because one can see the shadow, and it's a little bit too bright in my opinion. Otherwise it's a good image. Maybe it needs a little bit of work and it could improve, but well done otherwise.
1 star, Joanne, silver.
A very nice try for a 1 star. I think the reason why I got a silver is because in portraiture, we would have wanted to prefer to have it more of a photo and not a filter being put on it, to create more of a watercolor effect, and I think that is the reason why it's marked down to a silver. If you didn't do a watercolor filter on it, you would have scored a lot more, because the light is beautiful on the face. On sharpness and all that, I can't really comment because of the filter that's been applied on the image. But a good try. Thank you.
5 star, chicken for lunch, silver.
Well, great subject matter. You've got that little, if it's a chicken or a chick, anyway, it's being swallowed, its legs are out, it's probably past the stage of trying to fight back. But what a capture, what a thing to see and to be able to take a photo of. So the detail in that, the prey and on the beak is very, very good, and on the foot. But the rest of the image just lets it down slightly, unfortunately. I also see a dust spot just on the center and the right-hand side. There's two of them. I don't know if I bring my pointer. There's one there. Yeah, and then there's also a little bit of purple banding that I see in the background, and I don't know if it's been over-processed. And also it's a little bit dark on the neck, and possibly the crop is a little bit too tight. There might have been branches or something in the way, or something that was detracting from it below, but I would have preferred a bit more space around the image, and I think it would have worked better like that. But good attempt. Well done.
5 star, too cold for a swim, silver.
Yeah, I like how can you say, the title of it. It's too cold to swim, with his jacket and everything on. But in a portrait category, you would want to see more of a face of a person. But yeah, we've got a full body image, and I think that's the reason why you got marked down a little bit. And then the face is a little bit on the soft side as well, and comes across a little bit grainy as well. I think if it was another category, it would have scored a lot better. Thank you.
4 star, egret, bronze award.
Yeah. Lovely subject matter. I like the diffused background. The exposure is good. I like the angle that you've placed the bird's beak at. It looks like it's very intently focusing on something, but overall, unfortunately, it's just too soft. There's not enough detail and sharpness in that to really score a high mark. And also, I would have toned down that pastel background and made it a little bit darker. And unfortunately, at a 4-star level, you're going to get the punishment if it's not good. Sorry for that.
Tim Gould, Master Bronze. Wild Dog, Gold Award.
Yeah, I think we all, when we go to the game park, want to take images of wild dogs. Quite a nice image composition, quite well handled. Nice sharpness in the face area, nice and sharp in the eyes. And then you'll see we're losing focus down to the body. I think the biggest drawback is the brightness in the background and also the type of green color we've got in the background. If that green was a little bit toned down a bit, to a bit more darker green, could have worked a bit better. But otherwise, yeah, and quite a nice image, and you deserve your nice gold award on it. Thank you.
Master Bronze, Fun in the Garden, Silver.
Akash, it's my image, so I can't comment.
Okay. Sean?
Ian, yeah, it looked like it could be maybe one of your granddaughter or somebody in your family, but it is a beautiful image. I like the expression in the face of the young girl, and also the leaves is grasping in her left hand. Like the sharpness in the face, I'm not too concerned about the out of focus hand. I think the anything if I can comment on is just the color of the dress. If it was a bit more orangey, reddish, or yellowish, to match a little bit with that red in the background would have been a lot stronger. But yeah, that's what you add on, and you saw the nice image and took it. I like the nice dark background. But there was a nice image, yeah.
Thank you.
The next category is Scapes. Early Dawn, Silver, in the 5-star.
Sorry, I'm just switching off my cell phone.
Okay.
Let me get my place here. Scapes, Early Dawn. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Silver. Okay. Right. Yeah. Very, very interesting sunrise. Very, very nice skies. A nice banding in those clouds, lovely colors, lots of detail in the different color selections and what have you. And the rocks, you've got a nice little rock in the foreground going across to 3, 4, and then the other 1, 2, 3 sort of leading you along. So nice leading lines, nice composition, lots of things working for it. But why silver? It's a good question, but I think the coloring is a little bit off. It's got a bit of an orange cast to it overall, and also possibly a little bit of a purple cast. And one needs to be very careful with this type of image. If one gets your color right, it really pops. And one then would be forgiven for perhaps a bit busyness as far as the different things are in the different elements and the composition of it. But the color cast itself, to me, is what let this image down. But it's a great effort. But have a look at that in post-processing and see if you can adjust those with your color sliders, and you probably end up with a better image. Well done.
John Finter, Master Bronze, Ramsgate Morning, Gold Award.
Yeah, you'll have to maybe comment because it's my image.
Sorry, Jean, I see that now. Yeah, I must say I've enjoyed this image. I scored it pretty much a gold. So yes, why not a higher mark? This one certainly has the right colors. It's got a nice diffused foreground, interesting rocks. And I know from different classes I've attended on composition for scapes, one wants, especially with the seascape, a sort of lead in and sort of something taking you into the back. And you've certainly got everything going for you with that. The detraction or the distraction, if you want to call it that for me, is that white line on the horizon in the third at the bottom and the darkness that you've got there. And if that was lightened slightly, just the dark area, I don't have a problem with the light sort of horizon, but that dark piece, I think that would improve this image. I might be wrong, but that's just the way I see it. But a great image otherwise. Well done.
Master bronze, boy and dog on the beach, silver.
A nice image of a young person with his dog, and you can see nice reflections in it. I think it's just the composition of this image that is letting us down a bit. The rock on the left-hand side, it's quite a heavy element that's distracting you from the actual main element. I think if we could have eliminated that while you actually took the image, it would have helped quite a lot. And then also this huge sky, the top end of this sky hasn't really got anything that really add to the composition. So I think if that could have been cropped off a little bit. And then, yeah, if you could have just brought out a little bit of the blues in the sky, could have also helped, in the blues, in the reflection in the water. Because it comes across a lot of pinkness in the image. Thank you.
Corinne Berens, 5-star. Blue Sea, Gold Award.
Well done, Corinne. I must say I like that detail in the foreground and then the diffused wave going diagonally across, and then you've got the same sort of reflection from the sun going back, and you've got three sections of that going back into the horizon, which leads you and draws you to that sort of diffused sun up in the clouds. And yeah, certainly a very pleasing image. Yeah, there's nothing much to say that I would be able to tell you to improve on it. Perhaps a little bit more contrast, bring out a little bit more detail in the back, but otherwise a very pleasing image.
4-star, branching out at sunset, silver.
Oh, it looks like a sunset in Kgalagadi. You can see the sun just peeping through the bush and through the bush there. For a landscape image, you would want to see a little bit more of the landscape, some foreground, midground, and then far away background. And here we've just got an image of a silhouetted tree with a sunset. So I think that's the reason why you got a silver and not better. Beautiful colors and a nice silhouetted tree, but for a landscape, you need to offer a little bit more. Thank you.
Next category is sport. Charmaine Fenter. Oops, close call, Gold Award.
Yeah, it's my wife's image, so unfortunately I'll get killed if I comment on it. You'll have to rescue me.
It's my turn. Charmaine, well done. I must say I scored it a little bit higher than that. I really enjoy the action. It looks like that horse might have come down at a bit of a difficult angle, and that rider is showing the signs of a bit of dismay and also probably good fortune that she didn't fall off. But yeah, I must say I enjoyed this. A good, strong image. One obviously has a lot of distractions in the background, but that is where this event has taken place. It's one of these events with perhaps it's a steeplechase or something. And the only thing I might say that you could have done was to that white roof or whatever it is in the background, if you used a brush on there and just tone that down a little bit, it wouldn't be, I don't find it extremely distracting, but it is obviously something that is out of place with a nice diffused background. Otherwise, it's a great image. Well done.
5-star, polo cross, silver.
Ian, you'll have to rescue me again. That's again my wife's image.
Right, not a problem, Jean. Yeah, also a great capture, nice action, nice detail, nice and sharp. A lot of things happening in this image, nothing to detract really in the background. That dark area up there is not really anything of concern to me. However, anything with sport where there are people involved, one would preferably like to see a bit of the face, if possible, some eye contact. And that is what made me score this slightly lower. So otherwise, a good effort. And possibly also a little bit overexposed those white legs and the helmet on the right side, the horse on the right side, the gentleman on there. If that was toned down a bit, would have improved. But the main thing for me is no eye contact.
Next category, set subject, which was against the light. Charmaine Finter, 5-star. Sunset Beach Rider, Merit Award. Ian.
Glad I can comment on this.
As you can see, I'm arriving the horses. Yeah.
Right.
You'll have to rescue it. Yeah.
I must say, this was the first of the set subject that came up, and I looked at it and I thought, well, if anybody wants to know what to do to achieve the good scores on a set subject, then this is the one to look at, because it ticks all the boxes. You can see from the highlights in the hair and the sand that's been kicked up that the light is definitely coming from the back. The horses definitely not got any light on in terms of like full flash or anything like that. There is a bit of light on the foreground, but overall, this subject and the way that it is presented is just a great image. Well done.
Tim Gould, Master Bronze, Flies at Last Light, Gold Award. John.
Sorry, man, my internet went off and when it came back on, my mic was muted.
Okay.
Yeah, a beautiful image of this look like a hyena being highlighted from behind. So yeah, it's been shot into the light. I think image for this set subject, we would have liked to have more details on the subject, but this is shot into the light, so you've got more of a silhouette effect. But you can also see a very nice rim light around the animal, and then especially also the flies that's flying around the head area. The only credit I've got is that the spacing underneath, I would have liked to have more space underneath the feet area to give, and it's a little bit tight at the bottom. But otherwise, beautiful image, Tim.
Sandy
Thank you.
Rangers, 1 star. On the Prowl, Gold Award.
Well done, Sandy. That's a great image. I looked at it the first time and I thought, is the light from the back or from the front? But the more I looked at it, it definitely is coming from the back. There is that shadow that's leaning across into the bottom corner on the left side. And you've captured these hyenas with a wonderful sharpness. The composition is great. The background, to me, it doesn't detract a lot. And as a 1 star, you've done very well with this one. So well done.
Paul Ellis, 1 star. Backlit wine glass, Gold Award.
Now, for the 1 star, it was a great attempt at taking an image of a product and look like the light is coming from behind, because we can see the shadow of the glass here in the front. For the 1 star, it was a great attempt. The only drawbacks I've got is the reflection of the light in the stem of the actual glass. It's blown out. And then also further down on the stem, there's also a bit of blown out areas. And then also on the glass, on the left-hand side, on the glass as well, there's look like a little bit of blown out areas. And then the position of the glass, I would have liked to have seen just a tiny little bit more space on the left-hand side. It's a little bit tight onto the left-hand side. But for the 1 star, well done. You did a great job, and that's why you got a gold. Thank you.
John Venter, Master Bronze, Full Moon Rise, Gold Award.
Sure, Sean. I'm commenting on all your stuff, but I suppose that's the way it is because it's you and me commenting. So, yeah. I must say, I looked at this image and I thought, wow, this is really fantastic. I love what I've seen on your scapes. And I must be honest, I was a bit harsh with you here and I marked you down because with the light coming from the back, you've got a lot of light coming from the front. And for the set subject, I would have personally preferred a little bit less light on the front, which would have emphasized what the set subject was asking for. Now, you could have used a flash, you could have used a torch, you could have used a reflector. There's various ways you could have lit those rocks, and you've got great detail in them. And overall, it's a fantastic image. I would definitely like to see this hanging on a wall somewhere. But for the set subject, it would have got a merit from me if that rocks in the front were toned down, and only because of that reason. Otherwise, great effort.
Master Bronze, In the Web, Silver.
Yeah, a nice image of the spider in the web. I think possibly the reason why it was marked down a bit is that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more space around this spider and see more of the web, because that's a lot of times the interesting part of a spider in a web is to see the whole structure of the actual spider. And then the next thing I think it's you mark down for is just a bit of more light, on the body of the spider, because now it comes across a little bit on the dark side, and you can't really see a lot of detail in the spider itself. But otherwise, a beautiful image. Yeah. Thank you.
Master Bronze. Brown snake eagle at sunset, silver.
John, you're going to have to help on this, please.
Is it yours? Yeah.
Yes, that is.
A beautiful image of this brown snake eagle. And you can just see the yellow eyes. Background is quite bright and orangey. So we can't really clearly see from which way the light is coming. It looks quite artificially, but I'm sure you didn't artificially put it light there. But otherwise, quite a nice image. On the branches itself, it just looked like there's a little bit of halos coming across. So it's just a little bit in the processing. And I think a little bit more detail in the snake eagle would have been better. But we've got a little bit more of a silhouetted effect. I don't have a lot more to comment on your image, but a beautiful image. Yeah.
5-star, touched by the sunlight, silver.
Well, it's a great effort. Definitely can see that it fits the brief for the set subject with the backlighting. I did score it a little bit higher than that myself. But I must say the brightness of that main section on the monkey or the baboon that's got its head tilted sideways is just a little bit overexposed. Otherwise, it's a good effort, and well done.
5-star, against the window, silver.
I think it's a very nice image, very nice, colorful, a lot of action in the image with the player playing this. I don't even know what type of instrument this is. I can't even. It's definitely not a guitar. I think it's not fitting the set subject properly, and that's why it's scored a silver. Because you can clearly see the light is coming from the right-hand side, falling from the right-hand side on the person's face and on his arms and on the instrument. We would have liked it to be into the light and not side light in this image. The face also is a little bit softer, a little bit out of focus. Otherwise, a beautiful image. Just unfortunately doesn't fit the set subject. Thank you.
Kathy K. Master Gold. Hyena Pup Backlit, Gold Award.
Well done, Kathy. It certainly fulfills the requirements of the set subject. And your hyena pup is nice and sharp. Lots of detail, definitely not too much light on the front to make it look like you've overworked it. However, I found the lighting a little bit too bright on the area under the chest. The back section I find is fine, and I dropped you 1 mark for that, but otherwise a great image. Well done.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star. Good morning, Gold Award.
Sure, Michelle, I don't know where you found all those beautiful images of birds that you've got. For a 4-star, beautiful image of this juvenile Latelia, and clearly light coming from behind, so it's shot into the light. You can clearly see some nice rim light all around the edges of the feathers, and the bird is beautifully sharp. All the feathers are sharp. And also a bit of light coming through the right eye, So I would have definitely given it a merit. I think I did give it a merit from my side, but nothing else that I can really falter on this. A nice perch, a beautiful little perch it's sitting on, and I think if the background, in this case, if that was a little bit brighter, the emphasis, but more the light from behind, I think it would have aided a bit better. Thank you.
Master Bronze, in deep thought, silver.
Okay, also a great subject. Looks like it fulfills the brief in terms of backlighting for said subject. However, it looks like a gradient filter has been put across from the left to the right, and there's quite a distinct darkening of the animal on this side, which makes me wonder if there was a bit of side light there as well. So, yeah, I didn't find that too much of a problem when I looked at it, but also I think the crop lets it down a little bit. I would have preferred some more space for the animal to look into, and also a little bit soft, not quite as sharp and as detailed around the face area as I would have expected from Master Bronze, but great effort.
2-star at the aquarium, silver.
Yeah, I think for the 2-star, saw the brief into the light. So it's not really fitting from my point of view, it's not really fit the brief 100%. It comes across a little bit as more as a PJ photo of people standing in front of this big fish tank, and you see the raggy swimming upwards. But technically, the light is actually coming from above, that's highlighted in the tank, and the people are just silhouetted against the brightness of the inside of the tank. So, and I think that's the reason why it got marked down to a silver. But otherwise, yeah, a pleasing image of people standing at a fish tank. Thank you.
Jacques Alsop, Master Silver, Against the Morning Sun, Gold Award.
Well done, Jacques. I must say I enjoyed this image. I love that light and the detail in the feathers at the top of the wings, and certainly does fulfill the brief of a backlit subject. Your crop is good, the border is good, detail is good. Why not a high mark? The merit, if you could get the bird to listen to you and let its head turn a little bit so that the eye is more prominent, you would have got a high mark. But unfortunately, even you cannot get that right all the time. But a great image nonetheless, Jacques. Well done.
Highest star, Taisha, 2 backlight, silver.
Yeah, it fulfills the brief quite well. We can clearly see quite a lot of light and fortunately too much light coming from behind. So you've got quite a lot of highlights on the hair, and also quite strong light coming from the left-hand side onto the face. It's the brightness that is distracting here a bit, that very bright light on top of the hair that's like blown out, and also light down the left-hand side on the hair that's also a little bit blown out. But otherwise, nice sharpness, nice reflection in the eyes. I think if it was just toned down a bit, it would have been a lot stronger image. And if that background was a little bit darker, it would have been a really nice image with a reddish hair and this pinkish in the blouse. Would have made a really nice image. Thank you.
Master bronze. Eagle with backlighting, silver.
Yes, great picture of a crowned eagle. Why not a high mark? It certainly looks like the backlighting brief has been fulfilled, but overall the image looks a little bit soft. The detail is lacking on especially the face, the eye, the beak. It looks a little bit soft, out of focus perhaps. I don't know if the focal point is more at the back. Often a camera will try and pick up the brighter area to focus on. And also overall possibly a little bit washed out. The color and the vibrance is not there. But good effort, nonetheless. Pity about the mark.
4-star, churchyard, silver.
Yeah, a nice image of this church. It's the feeling it didn't fulfill the brief 100%. It's got rather a nice little bit of a room, well, like a framing effect on the image with, shot through a gate in this, into this, through a gate into this courtyard. And the light is also, that's behind the church is also blown out, so it comes across quite washed out, so I think that's why you've got a silver for this image, not fulfilling the brief properly, and also a little bit of blown out skies in the background. Thank you.
5-star, taking off at sunset, silver.
Yeah, great subject matter. This heron taking off certainly looks like the light is late evening or early morning. If I know Mkobi, where I think this was taken, it looks like the reflections you get at late evening. So I think the sun position might not be behind this bird, but that doesn't really detract from it. I think the green cast and the coloring lets this image down, and at a 5-star level, one would expect someone to be able to deal with that in post-processing. And also the crop, I would have preferred a little bit more space in front of the bird. If the bird was moved slightly left in the image, it would have given it enough space to move into.
5-star, sunflower in the sun, silver.
Yeah, this image of the sunflower, clearly can see that the light is definitely coming from the top, and it's shining inside the sunflower. And the image and the image was taken from behind, So unfortunately, when you take an image of a flower from behind, it becomes a little bit like in animals, like a bum shot. But in this case, I think it worked quite well because the flowers are lit up quite nicely. And it's just the lightness of the blue is a little bit distracting, and it comes across a little bit washed out. If that blue was a little bit darker, that could have helped quite a lot. And then that one leaf on the left-hand side is touching a little bit close on the left-hand edge but that's just nitpicking in the moment. I think if there was a bit more light reflected into the bottom end of this flower, it would have helped quite a bit more, It just comes across a little bit dark at the bottom. Thank you.
3-star, backlit grass, silver.
A great effort for a 3-star to capture something that would fulfill the brief with backlighting as our set subject. Unfortunately, in isolating this piece of grass with the seeds or whatever it is that are on there, you've got a very, very narrow vertical crop. And it's let down by some distracting elements in the bottom that are very dark, and the purple, dark purple in the other piece of grass there. It's difficult to say how you would improve on that, and also possibly a little bit of a color cast, green-purple color cast there. Some of these things, they creep in when one is doing processing, and it becomes a problem. And it's difficult to say whether or not this is actually backlit or where the light's coming from. So there's no reference, and it leaves one as a judge to kind of be a little bit confused as to whether or not it's fulfilled the brief completely. So a good effort, but yeah, try again.
Master silver, sunset, alert, silver.
I think this image definitely fulfilled the brief. You can clearly see it's taken into the light. You can clearly see some rim lighting around. Look like a juvenile water buck. Could be wrong. But I actually quite like the red effect that you brought into the image. It made it a little bit different. It's just unfortunately a little bit on the dark side, and but it also looks soft. Look like there's quite a lot of bit of pixelation going around in this image, and it's also a little bit on the soft side. If the animal was a little bit more sharper, I think it would have been a much stronger image, and also a little bit more light on the animal itself. Would have been quite great. Thank you.
Tony K, 4-star, the young man, gold award.
Oh, well done, Tony. You certainly have fulfilled the brief. The lighting definitely looks like it's coming from the back, but you've managed at the same time to capture a lot of great detail in that face. And the composition is good. I like that little bit of a tilt. I like the space on the left. Always nice to give enough room around and about for your image to fit into. And yeah, you've done well. Well done. You deserve your gold.
4-star, Cape Box in the light, silver.
Then nice photo of this Cape Fox, and we've got the cute factor coming through, this young Cape Fox. And it's filling the brief. You can clearly see some rim light, but you can also see that rim light is blown out on the right-hand side. So unfortunately, we've got a bit too strong light, and now the image comes across a little bit flat, So if the light was a bit softer, a bit more orangey, it would have been a lot more pleasing. And then it will be less flat, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, the light is a little bit on the strong side, and now the animal is in a lot of shade. But there's still nice detail in the animal. Nice sharp fair, and you can still see nice sharp eyes. It's just unfortunately a little bit of too strong brightness in the image. Thank you.
Kathy K, Master Gold, Kalahadi Lion Backlit, Gold Award.
Kathy, well done. I looked at this image and I scored it a merit. I must be honest. I thought this was a nicely balanced image in terms of the lighting. I think you did very well on your lighting on this side of the lion as he's walking through that sand. It is quite bright in the background, but I think it's handled well. It's not overtaking on the image as far as it's concerned. You could have possibly toned it down a little bit, but I thought it did very well. And the fact that it's marking its territory as it's walking along just sort of adds to the sort of drama of the image, and plenty of space to move into. So yeah, you've done well. Good image.
Julie Eisenbach, 2-star, Fire in the Sky, Gold Award.
A very brave attempt for a 2-star to take an image of this bright sun going down. I think it was very well handled. Got some nice, beautiful orangey color in the sky. I think the only thing that is a bit of a drawback, well, what you could do to improve in this image is, if this image is viewed on a black background, is to give it a little frame so that we can see where the ends are on the bottom end of the image. I'm viewing it here on a white background, so I can clearly see, but the bottom end is quite thick. The black area at the bottom is quite a lot. I think if quite a bit of that was cropped off, would have made a stronger image. And it just lacks a nice, strong point on the horizon. You know, if there was a nice big thorn, umbrella of thorn, or a nice thorn tree that the sun was setting behind, would have made a lot stronger image. But otherwise, a beautiful image for a 2-star. Well done.
4-star, Dutch Angle Sepia, Silver.
So interesting that I get to comment on this. I did discuss the Gothic church or building earlier, and this one certainly does better in as much as one can see the whole of the building from the bottom to the top. However, the lighting on it, in my opinion, lets this down a little bit. I can see that the authors attempted to do a sepia tone, which certainly does sort of do well for this, but I don't see how the backlighting brief has been fulfilled in that effort or attempt. So also the top of the that spire or steeple on the left, it's lost in the brightness at the back. So yes, certainly could be backlit, but I think it's been over-processed, and that's possibly what's let it down a bit. Good effort though.